Yes, they need to be across the board, whether private or public. That is what I have been saying. And again, I am repeating that the corporate governance has to be ownership neutral. They can be only in two categories: either you are well governed or you are not well governed.
So very strong comments were made during the opening session when it came to the kind of people sitting particularly on the PSU bank, so on and so forth, independent directors saying there are banks where people even don't know to have read balance sheets and they're sitting on the board. Is it time where do you think perhaps the whole criteria of who sits on PSU banks boards needs to be relooked at, and there this problem?
Why PSU banks alone?
To begin with?
No, why to begin with? So, okay, there are a whole host of corporates, there are private banks, there are public sector banks. So why do you have to distinguish that only very eminent qualified people need to sit on the boards of public sector banks and elsewhere you don't have to do that? Any board you need to have people as independent directors whose role is primarily to protect the interest of the minority shareholders, and they should be part of giving the right directions. So that applies across the spectrum. It is not a case only with public sector banks.
So, government officials have been speaking of a credit crunch in the economy. They're worried, that there's not enough liquidity, especially in the light of the recent liquidity crisis in the NBFC sector. Could you give us your comment as well? Are you really seeing, a crunch there?
The last numbers I read was that credit growth was 15%. So I think that itself says everything.
But inside,
go on.
So inside you actually spoke about the need for regulations to look over certain aspects. And
I didn't say that look over.
Elaborate on that.
What I mentioned is that regulator and regulated entities, there is no difference about what the direction should be and what the broader objective should be. So there has to be a need of complete trust between the regulators and the regulated entities in any field.
So do you really feel the need to ease off some of the prompt corrective action norms? A lot of debate has been centered around that as well.
So
should the weak banks be allowed to lend?
I'm not part of that debate.
So I don't know the industry point of
the
view.
lending to infrastructure segment that the government alone cannot do.
Yeah.
What are the constraints on banks right now from lending to the sector? Is it like the old cases that is like haunting banks, or the new projects are not bankable? What are the issues?
No, the issue is all about that anyone who invests in the private sector and supported by the bank capital, we have to be very sure that the projects will be executed in time and the policies are such that the expected IRR, whoever invests the money, that IRR is available. If that is not available, it becomes the whole cause of the problem.
But sir, have there been any moves of late wherein the stability in policy, which you spoke about inside, in context of the infrastructure sector, there has been some bit of nervousness over the stability aspect, sir?
About the?
Stability aspect, sir. Stability
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that when it comes to infrastructure financing where the money is involved for 20-25 years, then if there is no stability in the policy, then there can be issues. Thank you.
So on the Essar Steel, do you think it's
No
going to be
individual-
time consuming, the kind
that
of
is one of the
complications that
largest
are
accounts that you
emerging?
So the NCLT has fixed 10th December the date, and they have also mentioned that there will be a continuous hearing. So we are expecting that within December we will at least have the orders of the NCLT, and then we will see.
Are lenders considering Ruya's offer for Essar Steel?
That is again a subject matter which has been considered in NCLT. Lenders have given their view.
There is no consideration from lenders' side.
No,
on
how
the
can
Ruya's
it be?
offer.
No, how can it be?
Thanks a lot.
Oh.